Jake Morrison wiped his dirty hands on an old rag. He had been working on a broken fusion generator for 3 hours. The machine was old and cranky, but Jake knew how to fix almost anything. His workshop was small and messy, filled with spare parts, tools, and half-finished projects. The place smelled like oil and metal, but it was home. Haven Prime was not a fancy place. It was a frontier colony on the edge of known space. Most people came here to start over or to find work in the young mines. Jake had come here 5 years ago after leaving Earth. He was tired of the big cities and wanted to work with his hands. On Haven Prime, everyone needed a good mechanic. The door made a soft beeping sound. Jake looked up from his work. A tall figure stood in the doorway. At first glance, Jake thought it might be a human wearing strange clothes. But as his eyes adjusted, he realized this was no human. The visitor was clearly alien. She stood about 7 feet tall with long, thin arms and legs. Her skin had a soft blue glow, like moonlight on water. Her face was narrow and elegant, with large eyes that seemed to catch the light. But there was something odd about the way she moved. She kept one hand on the doorframe and moved very slowly. "Are you the human mechanic?" she asked. Her voice was strange but beautiful, like music mixed with normal speech. "That's me, Jake Morrison. What can I do for you?" Jake put down his tools and walked closer. The alien stepped inside carefully. She moved like someone who could not see well. Her head turned slightly as she listened to sounds around her. "I am Kira of the Lumani people. I have heard stories about humans. They say you can fix things that others cannot." Jake noticed how she held her head. Her big eyes looked in his direction, but not quite at him. "You're blind, aren't you?" "Yes," Kira said simply. 3 years ago, there was an accident in the deep mines, a cave-in. The rocks that fell contained poisonous crystals. The poison destroyed my sight organs. My people's doctors tried everything, but they could not help me. Jake felt sorry for her. He had worked in mines before and knew how dangerous they could be. "I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm not a doctor. I fix machines, not people." "I know this," Kira said, "but I have heard that humans think differently than other species. You build things in ways that others do not. You take old parts and make new solutions. This is what I need." "What exactly are you asking me to do?" Kira reached into a bag she carried. She pulled out a small device that looked like a crystal computer. "This contains all the information about Lumani biology. How our sight works, how our brains process what we see. I want you to build me something that can help me see again." Jake took the device and looked at it. It was warm to the touch and seemed to glow from inside. "I've never worked on alien biology before. This would be completely new territory for—" "I can pay you well," Kira said. "My family has resources, and I will help you understand how my people work. I was a scientist before the accident. I know about biology and technology." Jake thought about it. The challenge was interesting. He had always liked solving problems that seemed impossible. "What have other mechanics told you? Have you asked anyone else?" "Yes, I went to the Centauri Federation. Their doctors said it was impossible. The technology does not exist. I went to the Andromedans. They have very advanced medicine. They said the same thing. Even my own people have given up hope. So why come to a human? We're not exactly known for our medical technology." Kira smiled. It was the first time Jake had seen her look happy. "Because humans are different. You do not accept that something is impossible. You find new ways to solve old problems. You build things that work, even when they should not." Jake walked around his workshop. He looked at all the strange machines he had built over the years. Some were combinations of different technologies. Others were completely new designs he had invented himself. Maybe she was right. Maybe humans did think differently. I'll need to understand everything about how your vision worked, Jake said. Your biology, your brain, everything. It could take weeks or months. I have time, Kira said. I have nothing but time. And if I can't do it, if it really is impossible, then at least someone will have tried. Someone will have believed it was worth the effort. Jake looked at the alien woman standing in his workshop. She was far from home, asking a stranger to attempt something that the best doctors in the galaxy had said was impossible. But there was something in her voice that touched him. Hope, real hope. All right, Jake said. I'll try. But I make no promises. Thank you, Jake Morrison. Thank you for giving me hope. Jake picked up the crystal device again. Let's start with the basics. Tell me everything about how Lumani eyes work. Kira sat down on a workbench. For the next 2 hours, she explained her people's biology. Lumani could see many different types of light. They could see heat, electrical fields, and even some types of radiation. Their eyes were much more complex than human eyes. The interesting thing, Kira explained, is that the accident only damaged the organs that collect light. The parts of my brain that process vision are still perfect. If you could build new eyes that connect to my brain, they might work. Jake made notes as she talked. This was not just about building artificial eyes. This was about creating a whole new way of seeing. What if we could build something even better than your original eyes? Better? How? What if we could make you see things that even healthy Lumani cannot see? What if we could give you abilities that no one has ever had before? Kira was quiet for a long moment. Is such a thing possible? I don't know yet, but that's what we're going to find out. As the sun set outside, Jake and Kira continued to talk. She described her world, her people, and the life she had lost. Jake described his ideas for new technologies that might help her. Neither of them knew that this conversation would change both of their lives forever. Outside, the stars began to shine in the clear night sky. Somewhere among those stars, forces were already moving that would test everything Jake was about to build. But for now, in the small workshop on Haven Prime, a human mechanic and a blind alien were taking the first steps toward a miracle. 3 weeks passed quickly. Jake's workshop had changed completely. Where once there had been engine parts and mining equipment, now there were medical scanners, biological samples, and strange new devices that Jake had built from scratch. Crystal device Kira had given him was connected to his main computer, feeding him endless information about Lumani biology. Kira came to the workshop every day. She was patient and helpful, answering Jake's questions about how her people's senses worked. She also brought him food from her ship, strange but tasty meals that gave Jake energy for his long work days. Your eyes are amazing, Jake said one morning as he studied the biological data. Humans can only see a tiny amount of light, but you can see heat, electricity, magnetic fields, and even some types of space radiation. Could see, Kira corrected. Sadly, now I see nothing. Not for long, Jake said. He was working on something he called the Neural Interface Exosuit. It looked like a thin, flexible suit made of silvery metal. This is going to be better than just replacing your eyes. It's going to give you a whole new way to sense the world. The suit was covered with tiny sensors. Some could detect light, like human eyes. Others could see heat signatures from living things. Jake had also built-in sensors that could detect electrical fields, magnetic forces, and even gravitational changes. The most impressive part was a quantum scanner that could analyze the molecular structure of objects. How does it connect to my brain? Kira asked. She was sitting nearby, her fingers carefully exploring a piece of the suit. That's the tricky part, Jake said. I had to study your neural pathways for weeks. The suit will connect directly to your optic nerves. But instead of just sending simple light signals, it will send complex data streams. Will it hurt? I don't think so. The connection is designed to work with your existing brain structure. It should feel natural after a few minutes. Jake had been working 18-hour days to build the suit. It was the most complex thing he had ever attempted. The suit had to be perfectly fitted to Kira's body. It had to be strong enough to protect her, but flexible enough to move naturally. Most importantly, it had to translate all the sensor data into signals her brain could understand. I have a question, Kira said as Jake worked. Why are you doing this? I can pay you, but not enough for all this work. You could be making much more money fixing simple machines. Jake stopped working and looked at her. You want the honest answer? Yes, because everyone told you it was impossible. I hate it when people give up without really trying. And because you came to me with hope, even when everyone else had failed. You, Kira smiled, you humans really are different. How so? Most species accept limits. If the experts say something cannot be done, they stop trying. But humans keep pushing forward. You refuse to accept that some problems have no solutions. Jake laughed. Sometimes that gets us in trouble, but sometimes it leads to breakthroughs. On the 4th week, the suit was finally ready for testing. Jake had run every diagnostic he could think of. All the sensors were working perfectly. The neural interface had been tested on computer simulations of Lumani brain patterns. Everything looked good. Are you ready? Jake asked. Kira nodded. I have been ready for 3 years. The suit went on in pieces. First, Jake attached the neural interface to the base of Kira's skull. It was a small device that looked like a silver disc. Next came the main body of the suit, which fit over her torso like a second skin. Finally, Jake activated the sensors, built into the suit's surface. How does it feel? Jake asked. Strange, Kira said. I can feel something happening in my head, like my brain is waking up from a long sleep. The interface needs a few minutes to calibrate with your neural patterns. Just relax and let it happen. Jake watched the readouts on his computer. The suit was successfully connecting to Kira's brain. Data streams were flowing through the neural interface. Everything was working exactly as planned. Suddenly, Kira went completely still. Her breathing stopped. Her hands froze in mid-air. Jake was about to check on her when she spoke. Jake, she whispered, I can see. What do you see? You. You're standing 3 feet away from me. Your heart is beating fast because you're nervous. Your body temperature is slightly elevated. There's a small cut on your left hand from yesterday's work. Jake looked at his hand. There was indeed a small cut there. So small, he had forgotten about it. What else? The fusion generator in the corner is running hot. The power coupling needs to be adjusted. There's a small animal in the wall behind you. It's warm-blooded and about 6 inches long. That's just a tunnel rat. They're harmless. Jake, this is incredible. I can see the electrical fields from all your machines. I can see the heat patterns in the building. I can even see the magnetic field from Haven, Prime's core. But that was not all. As the minutes passed, Kira discovered more abilities. She could see the molecular structure of materials. She could detect chemical changes in the air. She could even sense emotional states by reading tiny changes in body heat and electrical activity. This is beyond anything I imagined, she said. I can see things that no Lumani has ever seen before. Can you see normally too, like you used to? Better than I used to. The suit is processing light in ways my original eyes never could. I can see ultraviolet patterns, infrared heat signatures, and even some radio waves. Jake felt a wave of relief and pride. Months of work had paid off. How do you feel? Powerful, Kira said, but also scared. This technology is far beyond anything my people have. It's beyond anything any species has. If others knew what you have built, ... What do you mean? Jake, you have created something that changes everything. A being with these abilities could be the ultimate spy, the perfect warrior, or the most talented scientist in the galaxy. This suit doesn't just restore sight. It creates abilities that no one has ever had before. Jake had not thought about the implications of what he had built. He had been focused on solving Kira's problem, not on creating a new form of life. Are you saying this is dangerous? I'm saying it's revolutionary. And revolution always brings danger. Kira spent the next hour exploring her new abilities. She could see through walls by detecting heat signatures. She could identify materials by their molecular structure. She could even predict how machines would break down by seeing stress patterns in the metal. There's something else, she said. Quietly, I can see energy patterns in space. There are ships moving in the outer system. They're too far away for normal detection, but I can see their gravitational effects. Ships? What kind of ships? I don't know yet, but they're big, very big, and they're heading toward Haven Prime. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Are you sure? The suit doesn't lie. Something is coming, Jake. Something that might be very interested in what you have built. Outside the workshop, the sun was setting again. But this time, Jake was not thinking about the beauty of the sunset. He was thinking about the ships Kira had detected. He was thinking about what people might do to get their hands on his technology. Kira, he said slowly, I think we need to talk about what happens next. Yes, she agreed. We do. Neither of them knew that the ships approaching Haven Prime carried the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. Neither of them knew that Kira's healing would soon become the key to survival for everyone on the planet. But they both knew that their lives had changed forever. 2 days after the successful test of the exosuit, Kira arrived at Jake's workshop earlier than usual. She moved differently now, with confidence and purpose. The suit had become part of her, and she was still discovering new abilities every day. Jake, we need to talk, she said as soon as she walked in. There's something I haven't told you about myself. Jake looked up from the maintenance work he was doing on the suit's power systems. What is it? I lied to you. Not about the accident or about being blind. Those things are true. But I didn't tell you who I really am. Jake set down his tools. Who are you, Kira? I am the daughter of High Counselor Thane of the Lumani. My father leads our entire species. When I was injured, it wasn't just a random mining accident. Someone tried to kill me. Jake felt his stomach drop. Kill you? Why? Because my father believes in cooperation with other species. He wants the Lumani to work with humans, with the Centauri, with everyone. But there are those among my people who disagree. They think aliens are dangerous and should be avoided. So they tried to murder you? They tried to make me weak. A blind daughter would make my father look weak too. They wanted him to step down and let them take control. Jake walked to the window and looked out at the peaceful colony. And you came here because I knew they were watching me. If I went to Lumani doctors or to any of our allies, they would know I was trying to get my sight back. But a human colony on the frontier? No one would expect that. But now you can see again, better than before. Yes, and that changes everything. But Jake, there's more. The ships I detected yesterday? I've been tracking them with the suit's sensors. They're not just big, they're massive. And they're not merchant ships or explorers. What are they? A hegemony battle fleet, led by the dreadnought Eternal Dominion. Jake had heard of the hegemony. They were a military alliance of several species that wanted to control all of space. They were known for their brutal tactics and their hatred of human expansion. Why would they come here? Jake asked. Haven Prime is just a small colony. We have nothing they want. They want me. And they want you. Me? Why? Because of what you've built. Jake, you don't understand what you've accomplished. This suit doesn't just help one blind alien. It represents a completely new form of technology. Whoever controls it could have a massive advantage in any conflict. Jake began to understand. You're saying the suit could be used for military purposes. I'm saying it already is being used for military purposes. The people who tried to kill me have allied themselves with the hegemony. They told them about my father's policies. They also told them about a human mechanic who might be able to help me. But how would they know about me? Because I wasn't the only one asking questions. After the other doctors failed me, word spread about the blind Lumani looking for impossible solutions. The hegemony has spies everywhere. They put the pieces together. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. So they're coming here to capture us. Yes, and if they succeed, they'll have the technology to create an army of enhanced soldiers. Beings who can see through walls, detect weapons, predict enemy movements. The balance of power in the galaxy would shift completely. Then we need to get you out of here, get you back to your people. No, Kira said firmly. If I run, they'll know the treatment worked. They'll hunt you down and force you to build more suits. And Jake, there's something else. My enhanced vision is showing me things about that fleet. They're not just here to capture us. They're here to destroy Haven Prime. Destroy it? Why? To send a message. To show other human colonies what happens when they interfere with hegemony plans. They'll take us prisoner, then burn this entire world. Jake felt his hands shaking. How many people live on Haven Prime? 50,000. Men, women, children. All of them will die unless we stop this fleet. Stop them? Kira, they have a dreadnought. That's a ship the size of a city. We have a few mining ships and some basic defense platforms. We can't fight them. Not with conventional weapons. But maybe we can fight them with this. Kira touched the suit she was wearing. Even now, Jake could see it working, the surface shimmering as it processed information from dozens of sensors. You want to fight a space battle with a healing suit? I want to turn their own weapons against them. Jake, this suit can interface with any technology. The quantum scanners can hack into computer systems. The neural interface can process information faster than any normal being. If I can get close enough to their ships, that's suicide. Even with the suit, you're still just one person. One person with abilities they've never seen before. One person who can see their weapons before they fire, who can predict their movements, who can turn their own systems against them. Jake thought about it. The suit was impressive, but it was designed for healing and enhancement, not for warfare. It would need modifications. Better shields, more processing power, maybe some kind of stealth system. Can you do it? I can try. But Kira, even if I can upgrade the suit, this is incredibly dangerous. If you die, your people lose their next leader. And I lose a friend. If we do nothing, everyone on this planet dies. And the hegemony gets the technology anyway when they capture you. Jake looked at the suit schematics on his computer. The basic design was solid, but it would need major upgrades to survive. A space battle? How long do we have? The fleet will arrive in 18 hours. They'll probably demand our surrender first, but they won't wait long. 18 hours to turn a medical device into a weapon system. Can you do it? Jake looked at Kyra. Her new eyes were focused on him with perfect clarity. He could see the determination in her face, but also the fear. She was asking him to help her risk everything to save people she had never met. I'll do it, he said. But we're going to need help. I can't upgrade the suit alone. What kind of help? I'll need to contact Governor Hayes. She'll need to coordinate with the colony's defenses. and I'll need to talk to the other mechanics and engineers. If we're going to fight the hegemony, we'll need every advantage we can get. Jake, there's something else. My father doesn't know where I am. If I die here, he'll think I died as a failure. Will you make sure he knows what really happened? You're not going to die. We're going to stop this fleet, and then you're going home as a hero. How can you be so confident? Because I've seen what human engineering can do when it's pushed to the limit. And I've seen what you can do with the right tools. Kira smiled. Then let's get to work. For the next few hours, Jake worked on the suit while Kira used her enhanced senses to monitor the approaching fleet. The modifications were complex and dangerous. One mistake could destroy the suit completely or seriously harm Kira. The lead ship is definitely the Eternal Dominion, Kira reported. It's even bigger than I thought, but I can see weaknesses in its design. The shield generators are located in predictable positions. The weapon systems all route through a central command center. Good. We'll need to target those systems first. As Jake worked, he realized he was not just building a weapon. He was building a symbol of what humans could accomplish when they refused to accept defeat, a symbol of what different species could achieve when they worked together. Kira, he said as he installed the final components, promise me something. What? Promise me that after this is over, you'll use this technology to help people, not to conquer them. I promise. My father raised me to believe that power should be used to protect, not to dominate. Then let's go protect Haven Prime. Outside, the sun was setting again. But this time, Jake knew it might be the last sunset he ever saw. Tomorrow, everything would change. The hegemony fleet arrived at dawn. Jake stood in the colony's command center, watching through the windows as massive ships appeared in the sky above Haven Prime. The largest was the dreadnought Eternal Dominion, a dark metal beast that blocked out the morning sun. Governor Lisa Hayes stood beside him, her face pale but determined. I've never seen anything that big, she said quietly. Neither have I, Jake replied. Around them, the command center was filled with worried voices and the conio beeping of emergency alerts. Communications officer Danny Carter looked up from his station. Governor, they're sending a message. Put it on the main screen, Governor Hayes ordered. The screen filled with the image of a reptilian creature in military uniform. His scales were dark green, and his eyes were cold and calculating. Scars crossed his face from past battles. People of Haven Prime, the alien said in a deep, harsh voice. I am Imperator Voss of the Hegemony Fleet. You are harboring criminals and illegal technology. Surrender the Lumani female and the human called Jake Morrison, and your colony will be spared. Governor Hayes stepped forward. This is an independent human colony. We don't recognize your authority here. Then you have chosen death, Moss replied. You have 1 hour to reconsider. After that, we will take what we came for by force. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in tense silence. Well, that was friendly, Jake said, trying to keep his voice light. What's our defense situation? Governor Hayes asked. Captain Ben Rogers, the colony's security chief, shook his head. We have 3 patrol ships and some basic defense platforms. Against a dreadnought? We might as well throw rocks at them. Then we need a better plan, Jake said. Where's Kira? She's in the engineering section, making final preparations, Governor Hayes said. Jake, are you sure about this? What you're asking her to do, ... I know, but it's our only chance. Jake left the command center and went to find Kira. She was in a small room filled with technical equipment, running diagnostics on the upgraded exosuit. The suit had changed dramatically overnight. It was now equipped with shield generators, quantum computers, and something Jake called a neural virus, a program that could take control of enemy systems. "How do you feel?" Jake asked. "Scared," Kira said honestly. "But also ready. The suit is working perfectly. I can see the entire fleet from here. 47 ships, including the dreadnought. The plan is still risky. You'll need to get close. Enough to the dreadnought to make physical contact with their computer systems. I know. But once I upload the virus, their own weapons will turn against them." Jake made some final adjustments to the suit's power systems. The shield generators should protect you from most attacks. The stealth system will make you nearly invisible, but you'll only have about 30 minutes before the power runs out. That should be enough. And if something goes wrong, then you'll need to find another way to save the colony. Jake looked at his friend. The suit made her look like a warrior from legend, but he knew she was still the same person who had walked into his workshop looking for help. "I wish there was another way." "So do I, but sometimes the only way forward is through danger." A voice came over the intercom. "All personnel to emergency stations. The hegemony fleet is moving into attack position." Jake and Kira went to the command center. On the main screen, they could see the massive ships spreading out around Haven Prime. The dreadnought remained in the center, its weapons pointed at the colony. "Time's up," Governor Hayes said. "They're charging their weapons." "Wait," Jake said. "Let me try something first." He activated the communications system. "Imperator Voss, this is Jake Morrison. I'm the one you're looking for." Voss's image appeared on the screen again. "The human mechanic. You will surrender yourself and your technology. I'll make you a deal," Jake said. "Let me bring Kira to your ship personally. Just the two of us in a small shuttle. No weapons, no tricks. In exchange, you leave the colony alone. You are hardly in a position to make deals, human." "Maybe not, but think about it. You want us alive, right? If you attack the colony, you might accidentally kill us in the fighting. This way, you get what you want without any risk." Voss considered this. "You have 5 minutes to reach the shuttle. Bay, any delay, and we will destroy the colony." The transmission ended. "Are you insane?" Captain Rogers asked. "You're walking into a trap. That's the idea," Jake said. "But the trap works both ways." Jake and Kira hurried to the shuttle bay. The small transport ship was ready for launch. As they climbed aboard, Jake made one last check of the suits. "Systems. The neural virus is loaded and ready," he said. "Once you make contact with their main computer, it will spread through their entire fleet. What about you? How will you get out?" "I'll figure something out. Just focus on stopping them." The shuttle launched from Haven Prime and flew toward the dreadnought. Jake piloted the ship while Kira prepared for what came next. The exosuit's stealth systems activated, making her nearly invisible, even to Jake's eyes. "I'm reading their ships." "Layout," Kira said. "The main computer core is in the center of the vessel. I'll need to get through about a mile of corridors to reach it. Can you do it?" "I can see the patrol routes, the guard positions, everything." "Yes, I can do it." The shuttle docked with the dreadnought. Jake and Kira were met by a squad of hegemony soldiers who escorted them through the ship's corridors. The interior was dark and military, with weapons and armor everywhere. They were brought to a large chamber where Imperator Voss waited. The reptilian commander studied them with cold eyes. "So, the human who builds impossible things and the blind alien who can. See again. You have caused me considerable trouble." "Sorry about that," Jake said. "Maybe next time don't try to destroy innocent colonies." "Innocent? You have created a weapon that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. That makes you dangerous." "It's not a weapon. It's a medical device. Everything is a weapon if you know how to use it." Voss gestured to his soldiers. "Take them to the holding cells. We will study their technology. and then decide what to do with them. As the soldiers moved forward, Jake gave Kira a small nod. She activated the suit's stealth system and vanished from sight. The soldiers looked around in confusion. What happened? Where did she go? Impossible, Voss snarled. Find her. But Kira was already gone, moving through the ship's corridors like a ghost. The exosuit's sensors showed her exactly where every guard was positioned. She could see through walls, predict patrol routes, and avoid detection completely. Meanwhile, Jake was taken to a cell in the ship's prison section, but he wasn't worried. He knew Kira would succeed. She had abilities that the hegemony couldn't. Imagine Kira moved deeper into the ship, using her enhanced senses to navigate the maze of corridors. She could see the electrical patterns in the walls, the heat signatures of the crew, even the data streams flowing through the ship's computer network. Almost there, she whispered to herself. She reached the main computer core, a massive chamber, filled with glowing crystals and data processors. This was the heart of the dreadnought, the system that controlled every weapon and defense. Kira placed her hand on the central processor. The neural virus flowed through the connection, spreading like wildfire through the ship's systems. Within seconds, it had infected every computer on the dreadnought. What is happening? Voss's voice echoed through the ship's intercom. Why are our weapons offline? The virus spread from the dreadnought to the rest of the fleet. One by one, the hegemony ships found their systems turning against them. Weapons that had been pointed at Haven Prime now targeted other ships in the fleet. This is impossible, Voss raged. How is one being doing this? Because you underestimated what a human and a Lumani could accomplish together, Kira said, stepping. Out of the shadows in the command center the bridge erupted in chaos as the crew tried to regain control of their systems. But it was too late. The virus had complete control of the fleet. Surrender now, Kira said calmly, and your ships will stop firing on each other. Voss drew his weapon, but Kira was faster. The exosuit's enhanced reflexes let her move like lightning. She disarmed him before he could fire. You're just one alien, he snarled. You cannot defeat an entire fleet. I'm not just one alien, Kira said. I'm one alien with the help of a human who refused to accept that something was impossible. Outside, the hegemony fleet was destroying itself, ship by ship. The dreadnought's weapons turned inward, and the massive vessel began to tear itself apart. Time to go, Kira said. She had kept her promise to Jake. Now she had to keep her promise to survive. The escape from the dreadnought was chaos. Emergency lights flashed red throughout the massive ship as its own weapons tore holes in the hull. Kira moved through the collapsing corridors with inhuman grace, her enhanced senses guiding her around falling debris and explosive decompression. She found Jake in the prison section, where the guards had fled in panic. His cell door had been damaged by an explosion and hung open. "Jake," she called out. "Over here." Jake emerged from the cell, his face dirty but unhurt. "I take it the plan worked?" "Better than expected. The virus has spread to the entire fleet. They're destroying each other. Then we need to get out of here before this ship explodes completely." They ran through the ship's corridors as the dreadnought continued to tear itself apart. Kira's enhanced vision showed her the safest path through the destruction. She could see structural weak points about to collapse, electrical fires spreading through the walls, and the growing holes in the ship's hull. "The shuttle bay is 3 levels down," Jake said. "No good. That section is about to decompress. But I can see another way out." Kira led them through a maze of service tunnels and maintenance shafts. Her ability to see through walls and predict structural failures kept them ahead of the destruction. They emerged in an escape pod bay just as a massive explosion rocked the ship. "Get in," Kira said, pointing to one of the small pods. They climbed into the escape pod and launched just as the dreadnought's main reactor began to overload. Through the pod's small window, they watched the massive ship break apart in a series of brilliant explosions. "That was the most dangerous thing I've ever done," Jake said. "And the most important," Kira replied. Around them, the rest of the hegemony fleet was in ruins. Ships that had been attacking each other were now drifting hulks. A few vessels had escaped, but the great fleet that had threatened Haven Prime was destroyed. Their escape pod was picked up by a rescue ship from the colony. As they flew back to Haven Prime, Jake and Kira could see the celebration beginning in the streets below. The impossible had happened. A small frontier colony had defeated the mighty hegemony. Back in the command center, Governor Hayes greeted them with relief and amazement. "How did you do it? How did 2 people destroy an entire fleet?" "We didn't destroy them," Jake said. "We just gave them the tools to destroy themselves." "The virus turned their own weapons against them," Kira explained. "When you have advanced technology but no understanding of how it really works, it can become your greatest weakness." Over the next few days, the story of Haven Prime's victory spread throughout the galaxy. News reports called it the most amazing military victory in recent history. A human mechanic and a blind alien had defeated the hegemony's most powerful fleet. Jake and Kira knew the real story was more complex. The victory had come at a cost. The exosuit technology was now known throughout the galaxy. Every military force, every government, every criminal organization would want to get their hands on it. "What happens now?" Jake asked as they sat in his workshop, which had been repaired after the battle. "Now I go home," Kira said. "My father needs to know what happened here. The Lumani people need to decide how to use this technology. And the suit comes with me. But Jake, I want you to know something. I will never let this technology be used to hurt innocent people. I promise you that." Jake nodded. "I believe you. But what about the people who tried to kill you? The ones who allied with the hegemony? They will face justice. My father is already moving against them. The hegemony's defeat has shown everyone that cooperation between species is stronger than fear and hatred. Will I see you again? I hope so. The galaxy is a big place, but I think our paths will cross again." A week later, Kira's ship arrived to take her home. It was a beautiful vessel, grown rather than built, with organic curves and a surface that seemed to shift color in the light. Jake helped her prepare for the journey. "I've made some modifications to the suit," he said. "Better power systems, more efficient processors. It should serve you well. Thank you, Jake Morrison, for everything. Thank you for giving me the chance to do something that mattered." As Kira's ship lifted off from Haven Prime, Jake stood in his workshop and watched it disappear into the stars. The place felt empty without her, but he knew she was going home to a better life. The news reports continued for weeks. Scholars and military experts tried to understand how the victory had been achieved. Some said it was impossible. Others said it was the beginning of a new age in galactic politics. Jake received visitors from across the galaxy. Scientists wanted to study his methods. Military leaders wanted to hire him to build weapons. Politicians wanted to make deals with him. He turned them all away. "I'm not interested in building weapons," he told them. "I'm interested in solving problems and helping people." But Jake did accept one offer. A group of colonies on the galactic frontier wanted to set up a network of workshops where humans and aliens could work together on new technologies. They wanted Jake to help design the program. "It's not about making weapons," the representative explained. "It's about making tools that can help everyone live better lives." Jake liked the idea. He had always believed that the best technology was the kind that helped people rather than hurt them. 6 months later, Jake stood in a new workshop on a colony called New Harmony. This one was bigger than his old shop, with space for multiple species to work together. Human engineers worked alongside Centauri scientists, Andromedan mathematicians, and Lumani biologists. "Any word from Kira?" asked his assistant, a young human woman named Amy Clark. "She sent a message last week. She's now the chief science advisor to the Lumani High Council. They're using the exosuit technology to help heal other injuries and disabilities." "That's wonderful." "Yes, it is. And Amy, that's what I want this place to be about, using technology to heal, not to harm." Jake looked around at the busy workshop. Beings from a dozen different species were working on projects that would help people across the galaxy. Medical devices, environmental systems, communication networks, all designed to make life better. "You know what the best part is?" Jake said. "What?" "Every single project here started with someone saying it was impossible." Amy laughed. "And you proved them wrong." "We proved them wrong, all of us working together." Outside the workshop, the sun was setting over New Harmony. But Jake wasn't thinking about endings. He was thinking about beginnings, about all the problems that still needed solving, all the people who still needed help. Somewhere in the galaxy, other mechanics were probably working late into the night, trying to solve impossible problems. Some of them were human, some were alien, but all of them shared the same belief that Jake had always held, that there was no such thing as a problem that couldn't be solved if you were willing to work hard enough and think creatively enough. The age of cooperation had begun, and it had started in a small workshop on a frontier colony, with a mechanic who refused to accept that helping a blind alien was impossible. Jake smiled and got back to work. There were still problems to solve, still people to help, and he had all the time in the galaxy to do it. The stars above New Harmony shone bright and clear, full of possibilities that no one had imagined before. And in workshops across the galaxy, the next generation of impossible solutions was already being born.